Kim, what's on your radar?
Well, this past week, California Governor Gavin Newsom unveiled an idiotic idea on how to relieve Californians from ridiculous gas prices. People in the Golden State are paying over $6 a gallon. The Shell station down the street from me is currently at $6.39. Good thing so many of us have Priuses and Teslas, right? Well, unfortunately, many people have gas guzzlers, and worse yet, can't afford to live in the city center and need to drive an hour into work each way. How can they possibly afford this? Well, Gavin Newsom understands the hardship and has come up with a fantastic solution. He's going to divvy up $400 for every registered vehicle in the state.
This direct relief is on top of the $10+ billion that we have distributed over the last year with the Golden State stimulus. So all told, close to $20 billion of direct tax relief.
Now, this isn't based on household or per person or income or even commute distance. It's per car. They cap it at 2 cars per person. So if you and your wife happen to have 2 cars each, you'll get a whopping $1,600. Even better, it won't matter if your cars are Teslas or Priuses, which require either zero or far less gasoline than the average vehicle. It won't even matter if you work from home and rarely drive. Own a car, get money. That's how this is going to work. Never mind the elderly on fixed incomes who no longer own a car. It's unfortunate their grocery bills are sky high due to the increase in trucking costs. If they only still owned a car, they could be getting $400. Many in the lower income class and even Uber drivers don't own their cars. They actually rent them on a per month basis. That's too bad. Under Newsom's plan, they won't be getting a dime. You must be the registered owner of the vehicle to collect the $400. And what about the eco-conscious who gave up their vehicles for public transit after the state government, including Newsom, encouraged it? What about those too poor to afford a car? They too are eating the cost of increased gas inflation, yet they get nothing. No car, no cash. That's how this works. It's unbelievable to think the state government, after spending so much time trying to encourage Californians to ditch their cars for greener solutions, is actually going to reward car ownership when times get tough. Does this actually make any sense? Especially to so-called progressives. Is this making any sense at all? This is similar to the pandemic. Rather than progressives leveraging it for the thing they've claimed they've wanted the most, Medicare for all, progressives instead ignored their golden opportunity and advocated for hunkering down and waiting for a big pharma solution instead. How do people not see the irony in this? This is your moment. This is the time. When a pandemic hit, why wasn't it the progressive left's first instinct to protest for Medicare for all? Now that gas prices are through the roof, why aren't progressives demanding the state give incentives to use public transit or massive rebates on electric cars? Instead, the government advocates for big pharma, and now in a gas emergency, the government is rewarding car ownership. It's bizarre, but it's beside the point. The point is, it's a ridiculously dumb idea to give $400 to people for each car they own, no matter if they never drive one of their cars or if their cars are all electric and don't even require gasoline. What kind of plan is this? Everyone is feeling the increase in gas prices. It's trickled into every aspect of our lives since nearly everything relies on transportation to get to us. Everyone, no matter how many cars they own, shares in this pain. Yet Newsom's idea is to give people a bunch of money for every car they own, as if I can drive more than one car at a time and need double the gas for some reason. It makes zero sense, and I'm scratching my head to figure out who this benefits. Is Newsom bought off by the car loan industry or something? Or is this just a genuinely bad idea he thought up on his own? What's even crazier is that the state Senate and Assembly actually came up with a better plan before Newsom came up with his. Their plan is to disperse $200 to each taxpayer and dependent, with the cap cutting off the top 10% of earners in the state. Now, this makes way more sense to me. Gas prices soaring affect many aspects of our lives, not just filling up our Teslas with imaginary gasoline. And what really drives me nuts about this is that this just looks like another one of those plans that ultimately ends up taking money away from the taxpayers, the hardworking class, and siphoning it up to the wealthy. I mean, people who own more than one car are going to be getting a bunch of money. It's based on that. I mean, that's just crazy. So households with a bunch of cars are going to get a bunch of money, you know, if they're registered to 2 to the mom, 2 to the dad, 2 to the, and then each teen. I mean, this is just crazy.
I love government so much. It's so great. We don't want you to own cars anymore because it's bad for the environment. Actually, scratch that. We're going to give you money per car you own for fun.
Yeah.
There's
got to be a better plan.
The 2-car thing is pretty dumb. Yeah, it sounds like giving everybody a check seems to be a better way to do it.
It usually is.
Yeah, good. Cut off the top 10%, fine.
Right.
And because everybody is facing higher prices, so even if you don't have a car, you're still facing some higher prices. But people who are commuting long distances, which California has no shortage of long commutes, are definitely hurting. Like, and you can sit back and say, look, the world should have transitioned to a clean energy economy, gotten off these gas guzzlers. But that doesn't do anything for the people who are suffering right now. So I agree, you got to do something. The 2-car thing is a little bit weird. Is that what's going to happen? Like, is California legislature just doing what Newsom tells them to, or why don't they just pass their version and send it to his desk?
Yeah, so that's going to be the battle right now. And Gavin Newsom's up for re-election this year. I know we just had the recall, but he's actually up for an actual re-election. And so, it's really bizarre that the Assembly and the Senate would come out with actually a decent plan, give everybody $200 plus per dependent. So that helps for things like groceries, right? And that helps the elderly. That helps everybody. It doesn't matter if you have a car or not. So it's really bizarre that he then felt like he needed to come out with this really odd plan that's like, no, we're going to do it per car. So if you've got more than one car, you're going to end up like really getting rich off of this. Even plenty of people who don't even drive to work anymore. I mean, the white working class are often, many of them are still working from home. Their offices are maybe doing a once a week or twice a week thing. But the working class, the blue collar working class, are still very much driving those cars. And a lot of them are single car households. Or that, like I mentioned, they're renting their cars. A lot of people actually rent cars from people rather than lease or own their own. And so I don't know why he would come up with this after the Senate and the Assembly already came up with a decent plan. It's so bizarre. Maybe it's like, oh, this will be a good plan. It only helps the rich, quite frankly. If you can own a car or multiple cars, you get more money.
It's cash for clunkers, but you keep the car.
Keep the car. Even if it's a Tesla, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
It really doesn't.
It's not 2 per household, it's 2 per person?
2 per person, right. So it's if your household has more than, if you're and you can maybe quickly go and register your cars right now. I mean, if you were going to do that.
Well, I don't know if anybody who has that many cars is going to bother to do that for $400. That's the thing about somebody that has that many cars. They're like, $400? Not going to the DMV for that.
But there are definitely plenty of wealthy people here in California that have 2 cars for, the mom, the dad, and then each teen gets a car, and they all will get $400 per car. Wow. That house would rake in a ton of money. Wow. I mean, it's just insane.
Well, the big oil would rake in the money.
Yeah.
Like it would immediately be out the door.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So crazy.
Incredible. Thank you, Kim. We appreciate it. We'll have more Rising right after this.